The smartphone in your pocket traveled 15,000 miles across 6 countries before it touched your hand. It is a global miracle of synchronization. But in 2026, that miracle is becoming a gamble. Let's go straight to the inside truth. If a single ship in the Malacca Strait stops for just 24 hours tomorrow, how many thousands of your customers will wake up to an empty shelf? And why is the industry still pretending this system isn't fragile?
Hello, and welcome to the TriNext podcast. I'm your host, Jitendra Srivastava. Today, we are stepping into the fast paced, high stakes world of tech supply chain logistics, where every innovation cycle never stops, where every cost or any delay can cost you millions. From semiconductors and AI infrastructure to consumer electronics and hyperscale data centers, tech supply chains are redefining the logistics, what it means to the world which is obsessed with speed, sustainability, and smart solutions. In today's episode, we'll explore how geopolitics, climatic concerns, and cutting edge tools like blockchain, IoT are shaping the backbone of tomorrow's tech industry. So let's plug into the future. Today, we are joined by our impactful leaders who are uh, completely shaping up how the entire tech logistics is working today in this sector. We have got Ms. Somali Jaiswal Sharan, Associate Director of Carrier.
Thank you.
uh, Mr. Ashish Jha, Head Exim Blue Star, and Mr. Karthik Shah, Regional Manager, APAC Logistics, Sennheiser. So, welcome, gentlemen. Welcome to this show. Welcome to this podcast. So, Ashish, I have got the first question to you. As you know that the innovation cycles are shrinking and the demands are rising, how do you think that the tech logistics can keep up with this kind of a speed, scale, and sustainability all at once?
Thank you, Jitendra, for the question. When it comes to innovation, this is something that's very close to my heart. So, I have seen a innovation in logistics and supply chain for almost now 24, 25 years. And every day I have seen that process has been improved to the next level. So, what does innovation to me means that how you do your regular thing or operational things in a much, much better manner what you was doing yesterday, and ensure how your next generation is ready to handle the critical task what you was doing manually in a more better way. When the volumes are increasing, you are becoming more competitive in the global market. Your competition is with the international supply chain, or when you are competing with developed countries like US, China, and Japan. So here innovations plays a very important role. Now, what does innovation means? That how you are improving your system, the way you work, how your systems are designed to handle any risk, ensure accuracy, ensure time-bound deliveries. So these things are very much important in today tech.
Absolutely.
Now coming back to the pressure on the supply chain, which we have been seeing from last 5, 6, 7 years. I still remember 10 years back or 15 years back, supply chain or logistics used to be run by the professionals. But in today era, supply chain majorly controlled by the geopolitical and government agendas. We have recently seen US China US tariff issues, China controlling the conductors. So here technology or innovations will play a very important role to really forecast your demand, align your productions, align your goal, what you need at what time, at what rate. So investing in something like digital procurement, demand forecasting tool, these things help us to really understand what we require at what time.
Absolutely, and I fully agree with you here, Ashish. And that is the way the whole world is changing, or the whole logistics or the supply chain is shifting towards. So, very well, put in. So, I mean, of course, this leads Karthik for my question to you is that you see that the hyperscalers are expanding globally, and so how do you handle the logistics complexity of, let's say, the transporting sensitive, high-value items and across borders so quickly and so safely?
So, what is more important here is that what is the value of your brand? If your brand is valued, then first and foremost thing that it would pass the borders easily. for that you need to have right practices in place in terms of anything, whether it is your finance, whether it is your supply chain, whether it is your sales related practice or promotion. Add into that, because we are here for supply chain, so what we do, I would say 100% of our product is niche, and we are only into the premium segment. So for us, product should reach in the right shape, right condition, in the right quantity to the customer is equally important. So what we do is that there are products which are so expensive that it is more than the value of the freight. So what we do is, one, we focus more on the packaging part, keeping sustainability in mind. So over the period of last, I would say 6 years, during the COVID and after the COVID, a lot has changed. Our packaging earlier was more to do with PP. Now we have find the alternative solution, so that we are also supporting the ESG initiative. So that is one. Second, what we do is we do double layering of the package. So one is where we have the brand name and everything else. Second is additional layer with cushions, so that our brand do not reflect outside. Because for most of the people in the world, Sennheiser means consumer. They feel that it's a headphone or earbud. So irrespective of knowing the product, they simply try to take it out and try to use it. But we are more into the professional, and the equipment, one, if take away, would not be of use at home, because it needs complete setup like we are here. So these are another thing. Third, what we do to keep in mind as far as this, your proliferation in the market, there are so many products which comes with Sennheiser brand. So what we do country by country. So I will take example of China. So in China, we have a policy of having anti-fake sticker, and that's with advanced automation. Like we have WhatsApp, they have WeChat. So we have a software company in between us and between WeChat who provide us serial numbers with sticker, anti-fake stickers. So we put one on the invoice and another on the product. So when it goes, and let's say I am going in market and buying the product, so what I would do, I would simply open my WeChat, I would scan the product, and if I find that it is sold by Sennheiser China office, then it's a legitimate product. Else I would simply say no. And more often this is still happening. So we are further enhancing with artificial intelligence to it.
Very nice.
So these are a few things which we are doing here and there to help us.
And I think it's very important for the brand as such, because I've seen when you talk about the packaging, how well you package your product, and because it's going to the consumers, whether it is professional consumers or your general consumers, but the whole packaging gives brand that kind of a value, so you feel that premium thing associated with the brand when you see something which is coming to you is well packed, it's very well done, and I think apart from securing it and keeping it safe, you also have that in mind that this product is being well taken care of, that particular brand. And I think this is something associated with how the brand recall comes in. As a consumer, I will always prefer something which is properly done, properly packaged, and you have seen all those unboxing videos which come in, and it gives that feel, that you are opening a premium product, So I think this is very well said, Karthik. I mean, I think this is very, very important. Of course, you touched on a very sensitive subject of sustainability, and I think all these packaging solutions are more and more driven towards that. How do you take care of your environment? How do you do your social responsibilities toward that? So,
and just adding to what you said is, because you highlighted the point about premiumness in the packaging. So we, being an importer here in India or elsewhere in Asia Pacific, which I take care of, even if it comes in our warehouse, which is Sennheiser own companies in these countries, if we find that outer carton from the edges is compressed, or the inner carton of the retail pack is slightly compressed or having a scratch, we simply reject it. And our head office immediately take necessary action and send the fresh goods. And we never sell that product to the customer as a fresh. We, in a quarter, we consolidate all that items and we make some promotions, and then we sell it at a discounted price.
Very well said. And also because the nature of your product, I mean, just imagine if I'm going to buy a product, let's say of Sennheiser, which is a very sensitive headphone, for example, and when I see the box, which is a dented box, the first thing comes to my mind that it must have fallen. It must have hit something, and then what happens to my product inside? So I will never buy that, and I will always ask him. That's like very natural, So I think it's very, very important to do that. So thanks, Karthik. Now, so Somali, I mean, taking it from here, I mean, you see that consumer tech is going hyper personalized today, and it's purely launch driven today, in today's scenario. So how is your logistics strategy evolving, to meet the expectations, especially when it comes to like the speed and traceability, and of course, touching on the ESGs, the low emissions which is coming out of it.
Thank you, Jitin, for the question. So, for me, there are three keywords here. The first is speed, traceability, and then the purpose of doing all that, right? The ESG and giving back, or maybe sustainable part of doing the logistics. So, let me give you a quick example of what Carrier has been doing, and I think I would take two worlds into it. So we also do residential, and the other is the commercial or the institutional
Absolutely, yes.
business vertical. So the first is on the residential. For any customer, the delivery time and the speed of getting it there is very, very important. So from Carrier, we have just not, so if you say traditionally, supply chain works through regional warehouses, or say maybe the pan regions warehouses. But then in Carrier, we came up with micro fulfillment centers, right? For example, if you place an order right away, and then you clearly tell to your customer that, like, say in like 24 hours you're going to get the package delivered, right? It means a lot from a reliability standpoint. So that's why the concept of micro fulfillment centers is important. But then this is an infrastructure upscaling of the the warehouses or the logistics setup. But the other part comes is the technology part of it, right? Where you can allow rerouting of your packages while it's on the fly. So that's like one initiative which we are working. And the other one is like you can use AI. And I think it's not a buzzword, honestly, because we have really live in implemented this in our logistics systems, is that where you can work on optimizing the route. You can reduce the empty miles, you can reduce the fuel non-efficient areas, and so this was the where the reliability is important. The other portion is where it's important when, so for example, just giving you a data center example, the products which we manufacture comes under lead time of like say 12 weeks. Very difficult for everybody of you to digest when we are trying to get orders in 5 minutes. We have a entire value chain of 12 weeks. Now, the competition and us is not differentiated on products. We are differentiated on delivery times.
Absolutely.
So that's what the whole game is about. That is your supply chain, your logistics reliable, at the same time resilient to take care of any disruptions, right? There can be geopolitical, there could be Red Sea crisis, or there can be an entire tier 2 value chain affected through tariffs, or maybe through the disruption across in the sky. So it's very important that the resiliency and the build-up of your product is ensured and in real time communicated to the customer.
Absolutely.
So for me, this encompasses speed, traceability, and then from a packaging standpoint, I think the packaging defines the purpose of the organization. So all these three puts together the what and the how the organizations operate. And I think logistics can't be untouched from this whole
of course.
what and how. So,
Yes, it's the backbone. And so one of the point which you touch, Somali, probably I'll just want to touch on that, is the micro fulfillment center which you spoke about. Now this, from a consumer point of view, it's a very good thing, because you can reduce the lead time, and if I order something, the chances of me getting it is very quick, But at the same time, from an organization point of view, doesn't it lead to your inventory situation where you've got a pile up in your fulfillment center? Electronics is something which, as a consumer, I always look at the year of manufacturing. Whenever I buy, I look at the year of manufacturing, and that's the first thing. Generally I do. Even to an extent of when I'm buying one of the leading players in the PlayStation or the PS5 kind of a thing, the first thing even my son looked at it is that when was it made? It doesn't matter, because they keep on updating the software, the hardware still remains. But I'm just talking about the psyche part of it. So do you think that this micro fulfillment center also puts a pressure on the organization from the inventory standpoint?
So I think it does to a larger extent, but what comes to our rescue is use of AI again, right? Where you are just not dependent on demand forecasting on historic
Yeah, correct.
Clues, but then you also depend on understanding how the market is going to
Yeah, yeah,
behave.
yeah, so.
Are you having a first mover advantage in the market? Then of course you are, and then you get along the various predictive analytics here. I would say predictive, but then eventually prescriptive as well,
Yeah.
to understand how the demand is going to,
Correct.
and then you accordingly lean your inventories. You lean up your entire value chain, and of course there would be a
Yeah,
bullwhip
of course.
effect,
Of course,
but
yeah.
then this helps us, so the technology brings in to be more proactive, but also reduce the working capital, the cash flows, and the inventory.
Exactly,
So
exactly,
it's
yeah.
like it's a holistic tech enabled logistics which will help reduce all types of waste in
Yes,
the value chain.
absolutely. I mean, the whole idea of bringing this subject was to see that how technology is really important for the logistics now,
Indeed, yeah.
and it's more so for these kind of products, which has got a shelf life, it has got an year of manufacturing mindset. Technology is probably is the only thing which changes before you start using it. So I buy something today, and the next day I think something which has come up with the latest. So and the whole idea about this was to make the viewers really understand that how technology is really shaping up the logistics today, and without that it is very very difficult to really have that kind of a robust supply chain which is completely data driven, AI driven, and so I think that's very very important here.
I think I would like to add another word: robust and resilient. Both.
Exactly,
So yeah,
exactly.
which can bounce back on the different traditional disruptions.
Of course.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
3 4 years back, the demand forecasting which we used to do, and today it's really come out. It's very well. I mean, I still remember 6 7 years back when I was with one of the firm which we used to do a lot of demand forecasting along with the consumers and the customers. The accuracy was not really good. Of course, because it was based on your past data, your sales points, and how do you do it. But in today's scenario, it's very, very different. So, Ashish, you want to
So
say
here
something?
I would like to add on this drastic development in the means innovation in the demand forecasting. If 5 6 years back it was, of course, it was a historic data, but now I came across a company who provide you data. For example, I'll give you, let's say you are using a GPay or some UPI and you are buying ice cream in a certain area. I'll take an example of Chitranjan Park, that many people are eating ice cream, and let's say we want to start a ice cream parlor, and you never know that what is the demand there. So we have the kind of data today that who has purchased a ice cream at what place, and you have a ready-made data, and you have a detailed customer profiling, that look, you have a 80% of your demand is coming from CR Park or maybe from some other else area, and this really help us today. And this is a technological transformation in the demand forecasting, and which makes demand forecasting a much accurate tool today what used to be 5 years back.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think it's reading more of the consumer behavior rather than your historical data.
Right.
So you read the mind, you think of something and you start seeing the ads coming on your phone.
Yeah,
So I think
basically, interrupting you
No,
here.
no,
So
please,
basically, adding to what Ashish said, it's not now any more bottom up or top down approach. You also need to keep in mind the geopolitical tension going
Yeah, yeah, of
on, how
course,
you're managing.
of
So
course.
it should be interconnected, and interconnected cannot happen just with the system. You need to have artificial or intelligence tool or blockchain, which gives you enough data. Like if something gonna happen in Nairobi tomorrow, where you have the manufacturing facility, but data has sensed that, so it give you alert that there is a disruption coming in. So it's better you shift your production from there to somewhere else before
Yes.
it come to the light, so that you are securing yourself. So you need to have this. This is mandate and no more choice.
Oh, I'm 100% with you. And because these disruptions are now becoming, no more exceptions,
Yeah.
It's something which is going to come. And what will come, we all don't know.
Agree.
So that disruption has also become very disruptive in nature. Anything might come up tomorrow.
So I strongly believe that if there is a disruption, and there is a supply chain. So supply chain cannot be away from a disruption. We are in this job to handle the disruption.
Exactly, exactly. And I think we have come a long way if you look from the logistics point of view. Now, I think every organization understand that logistics is the key thing. I mean, I'm talking about straight into the boardroom discussions now
Yeah.
in most of the organization today. So, and this is a big jump because the whole life cycle of a product depends on that how the logistics are done for that.
Today, I would say logistics or innovation logistics is more as a customer experience program, I would say. And yeah, means we have discussed the delivering a package in a good condition. So I'll take an example of Fun and Petal. You don't buy a product there, you buy a design or you buy a packaging there that let's say you want to send some gift to a loved one. So there your chocolate of lover does not define your
Yeah, yeah,
affection.
that's true.
But you select the kind of packaging and the kind of accuracy in the delivery.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
you sending, I'll take an example here. If you can book a similar product from Flipkart, you send it, and you book a similar product from
FNP, yeah.
FNFP,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and you
it's
see the
very
magic,
different.
and
It's
you see the
very
difference. Your receiver will be more emotionally touched
Yeah.
when you send it from Fun and Petal.
Exactly. I think it's more of an experience rather than the
Yes.
product which is going out. So yeah, absolutely. So so coming back to, I mean, this is very open questions to everyone because I think this is a very important subject to touch. Um, right from the rare earth minerals, to the e-waste, the tech industry supply chain has serious ESG concerns at the moment. So how is I mean, in your individual organizations, your logistics practices is helping to mitigate the long-term impact of this?
So here I would start when it comes to ESG. Rather, I would first I'll speak on the individual. When it comes to ESG or sustain, it's the individual responsibility first. It's not, of course, this is driven by the company that we have to implement, but I strongly believe this has to come up from every individual who is staying on this planet Earth.
100% with you.
So that is very much important, and everybody has to be learn and understand why ESG is important. Consuming electricity at home, how to avoid the plastic waste, how to avoid the excess consumption, wastage. These things come
Simple
from.
things, which adds up.
And of course, so this is the culture what we have to develop now. To improve this culture and to take come next level, I would say, corporate has taken this moral responsibility to guide the population or the ecosystem. So when it comes to ESG in our company, so we are working on the various segment, how to have optimum resource of energy, how to change the package design where wastage are wastage can reduce, setting service center more centralized where things can be handled more rapidly rather where you can avoid multiple transportations. uh, we are partnering with the suppliers vendor who are into the recycling of things, using eco-friendly materials. These things we are means this kind of steps we are taking, and these things will definitely will help us to cut down CO2 or help us to achieve ESG goal in maybe in coming years.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what Ashish said, adding to that, what we are doing in the company is one, in last 4 years, we have changed from polythene bag to pack material inside the retail box to paper or cardboard. That's
Okay.
one thing.
Yeah.
Not 100%, to maximum extent we already did. Second, what we have done that when we give an experience when you are buying the product as a customer, earlier it used to be fancy plastic pack, which somebody used to carry at a multiple places wherever they are going. I'm having Sennheiser. So that we have changed to fabric bag, which is reusable.
Correct.
That's two when it comes to customer. When it comes to after sales, wherein repair and other thing is concerned. So what we have started in last 1 year is that it's end-to-end management by Sennheiser. So we have our distributors and dealers who collect the product from all the customers. Rather, they send it to us and they consolidate and then they send it to us. So then we give complete replacement or repair to our dealer or distributor or authorized repair partner, and they in turn are the faces. That's second. Third and most important is about waste management, which I would appreciate the efforts which government has put in place. Though majority of industry is saying that this would not work. But what I look at that is they are looking down the line 10 years, how it should be, and they bring in policy in that manner. So it's very tough for us also, the way they are asking to provide, like if I'm selling a mic or I'm selling this product.
Yeah, yeah.
So how much plastic content, how much
Yeah,
metal
yeah, right,
content,
right,
it's very difficult to get that data.
Correct.
But we being the European company and their mandate is already there.
Yeah.
So they need to reduce CO2 footprint every year with
Yes,
certain
yes, yes,
percentage.
yes.
So we are abide by that. So that's a force. Here it is not a force. Still it is an option.
Yeah.
Because they have different categories of it. So what we have done that we took that into logistics from the compliance team. Because last in the funnel is logistic.
Yeah, correct.
They know where the product is going and in what shape it generally comes back. So for all three waste, whether it is e-waste, whether it is plastic waste, or whether it is battery waste. So we have tied up with multiple agencies who do recycling, who also, in case if we fall short of credit, they provide us the credit.
Okay.
Yeah. And last but not the least, what he particularly touched and start with is individual responsibility. So we are in a process to find whether we can put our boxes at the dealer place, wherein every quarter or so, looking at the volume of coming back, rather retailers put it on scrap. Because general tendency as a human, what I would also have is that product kharab ho gaya, so let's give it to kabadi wala. We
Yeah,
don't know how
correct.
they are using
Yeah,
it,
yeah,
right?
of course.
So what we are planning to do, which many of the company in India already did, is at your retailer point or at your dealer point, they put in the bins.
Okay.
You put the product as per the category, and it's a responsibility of company to pick it back. So maximum of the waste come back, and that helps in the previous question what you asked about the rare earth metal.
Correct.
So people rarely realize that you can recycle 60% of your electronic waste.
Okay.
You find metal, you can recycle. Obviously, that product would not have that capability which original metal had, but you can give that price comparison, and that works. So we are not there, but that's something which can be explored. That's an option to have an industry there.
Yeah, yeah, correct,
Yeah.
correct. So,
I would like to add maybe
sure.
on the question. So, how ESG is deconstructed in Carrier is in two forms. One is the manufacturing cost or the carbon footprint generated around the manufacturing, right? And the other one is over the life cycle of the product. So the products which Carrier does is with respect to the energy management,
Okay.
right? So in typically an HVAC unit contributes to almost 50% of your overall life, or say from the energy point of view of a
Okay.
building.
Okay.
So what we have, like I would say, have promised with respect to, and even that's like something which we have even done it into the market, that we will be reducing 1 gigaton of carbon footprint by 2030.
Okay.
So that is one. The second is, I'll give a quick example on the use of refrigerants, and I think that's something which directly affects the ozone layer, and I should not like mention what's the importance of that. So 5 years back, when there was like every industry, the HVAC industry was using HFC, right? We moved from CFCs, chlorofluorocarbons, to hydrogen
yeah, yeah,
fluorocarbons,
correct.
and now 5 years back, before the government started like us to use refrigerant which are generating low carbon footprint, Carrier started working with refrigerant companies to
Okay.
come up with a solution which is 50% lower carbon footprint generation versus the current. So
Okay.
we have moved from an R410A to R454B. This is North America, and that costed us at least 30% more. But then eventually we said that we will, over a period of next 3 years, would make it equal to that, because we are working on working with those refrigerant manufacturers to make them most cost efficient.
Okay.
So it's on the ESG, the game is not about what you can do currently, but how you can, and I actually echo with Karthik,
Yes, yes.
what you can do over 10 years, 50
Yeah,
years,
correct,
right, to make that impact. That will be an eventually maybe a cost non-effective journey, but then over a period of time, this will add up to your goal of giving back to the society. So the
100%.
purpose
Yeah.
of being in the industry plays here when you
Yes.
talk about just not cost, but then eventually the whole value chain.
Yeah, and of course the impact which will come over a period of time.
Of course,
So
yeah.
most of the goals should be designed so that the impact is calculated, or it's put into a period of time where you get it. Most of the time, unfortunately, people associate it with the cost, which is the immediate cost, and I think that is one of the biggest challenge everybody faces. I mean, I'm not saying that we also face the same thing, that the moment the ESG comes in, it is seen as a cost, and then you have got all the cost centers and the profit centers within the organization, and then to take, because ESG for me, it's evolving everybody in the organization. It's not just a boardroom discussion. It cannot be just two or three people. It has to be the whole culture, or the whole organization should start looking at it.
So Jitendra, I would add on here, since Somali has mentioned about moving from 410 to
4108 to 454B.
454B. So 454B is a low carbon, almost zero, means it is one of the best gas. Of course, the cost is slightly higher, but it is not about the cost anymore now. Your customer want that gas, and you are willing to sell that gas. So this is a cultural change.
This is the cultural change.
So as you mentioned, that sustainability or ESG is a cultural change. At one point of time, you will see the gases which was high carbon has been eliminated in most of the countries. So all the developed country want the low global potential carbon gases in their countries, and to align that, everybody has to align that goal. So the things are moving on. I don't think that price is a barrier to doing a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And last point to add here is about people. So the generation currently, when let's say there is an opening in the organization, so when we roll out and when people come for interview, generally what we ask as a candidate, even today also, acha profile kya hai? What we need to do, kitna milega, right? And what company is into. Whereas this generation asks the question, what your company is doing for the society.
Yeah, of course. Exactly.
And then they ask, okay, what about ESG? What about my life? What benefit I would get? And then it comes to what job profile. So a shift has happened already.
It's happening.
And if we will not tune to it, then we are already out.
Correct.
So we need to adjust and settle with them.
Exactly. So I saw that in one of the tagline, I don't know which company it was, but it said that the earth we are living in is not that we are going to give it to the children, but it's the earth which we have borrowed from our children.
Yeah.
So I think it's beautifully said, and you are right that the new generation is very sensitive about it.
Yeah.
You also touched on the e-waste part of it, sir, and I'll also say that as a normal consumer, I'm also not much aware about that how this e-waste are classified. How do I segregate the e-waste, and what is the benefit if I get to do that? Do you think awareness is also very, very important to be spread out to the consumers?
From industry perspective, I would say that the government bodies, like for us it is CMA, like CII or FICCI or other chambers, they are doing a lot, I would say. Like for us, it happens every month, wherein every company in the consumer electronic industry, whether they are OEMs, whether they are finished product manufacturers, whether they are just the service providers, everybody participates. What piece is missing here is to the end customers.
Exactly.
That's something which I think if corporates get into, it would be a great benefit. Creating the awareness at the time of purchase.
Correct.
Making them aware, or making a part of curriculum in the schooling. So you need to change.
Exactly.
So that piece is missing. But as far as industry is concerned, and both of my co-panelists said the same thing, industry is quite aware of it, and they do before government come in with any rule and regulation.
That's right.
So that's already there, and all the government bodies are supporting that. They are doing a lot of awareness session, and every 15 days we have a session wherein any question you have related to waste management, because it is still not final. They have put in place and they decided like कि rule लेके आते हैं, उसको ठीक बाद में कर लेंगे. अभी लेके आते हैं so that there is something in place.
Correct.
So that's ongoing, and that industry body is constantly talking both way. and finding the midway which is sustainable, which is doable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. What I see as a missing link is ultimately the end consumers are the one who are disposing those e-waste.
Yeah.
If I've got electronics in my house, I am the one who is disposing it off, right? If I'm not aware that this has to be disposed in a particular way, I will just dump it to the kabadi wala, as you said.
Right.
Tomorrow he'll come along with my everything. He'll also take that. What he does with that, we don't even know.
So Jitendra, I'll give us a very nice example for this, and with a recent example. So recently, I have changed one air condition, and I happily given that air condition in the exchange, and person came and without checking he took it very happily, and he paid me around 4,000 rupees, and I bought this air condition at 12,000 many years back, 8-9 years, and I was happy to get 4,000 rupees. And I asked with curiosity, you have not checked the AC? No sir, I am not going to check this. Why who will buy this AC? Who will use it? No sir, I am not going to sell it. I am going to recover gold, copper. And I was really surprised. You will get a gold. I said yes. And when it comes to electronic, with this example, the thing came in my mind when we were in school. We all have studies. A coconut tree, everything is being used.
Yeah, correct.
Nothing can be co-waste. To my understanding or the knowledge what I have gathered, I strongly believe every part of electronic waste can be used in an appropriate manner.
Exactly.
The missing part is that the people has to be graduated in this
correct.
segment.
Correct.
So the moment we learn that what kind of metal can be recovered from the waste, this will not only help to cut down our cost, but also to address the challenges like rare earth, coming back to conductors, because we are wasting a good amount of energy metal after certain years. Now, seeing when it comes to rare earth metal, it's all about that India. If some metal is with us, means it is not with us. Now it's very important how we use it in proper manner, we conserve it, and we should have an alternate. So here recovery of waste is very, very important, and putting to the right use.
Exactly.
So best example to this is one way to do is remuneration. So what I had seen when I go in market for electronic purchase like bulbs or CFLs or LEDs, so the retailer would say at the time of sale कि सर ये बिगड़ जाए तो आप वापस मेरे को ला के देना, मेरे को 5 बल्ब मिलेगा ना तो उसके ऊपर मेरे को 20% डिस्काउंट नेक्स्ट परचेज पे मिलेगा. So that is one way to promote. Second is that to have setups. What is the piece which is missing? We have recyclers, but that's more like kabadi walas.
Yeah, correct.
They don't know how to segregate what he rightly said. That facilities are somehow missing because many of the company in that industry body have a question that हमारे पास scrap पड़ा है but scrap करेगा कौन? So that setup is also, that piece is also missing.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
So I think just add to it. So I think Apple and Google has done brilliantly well on this, right? So what they're doing, so they are actually connecting two things. One is the brand loyalty, right? So they understand if you get an exchange of a product, that you means that you've been loyal to the brand and you've been, so the churn with respect to going to the other brand is low, and then you're using the same. So that's one, which they are able to conquer from this. The second is on the rare earth metals. What they're doing is like they're using robots to actually extract and that's the quality of the product is high, right? Because you are using your own product,
Correct.
which you know is more reliable and efficient. You're trying to recover those rare earth metals rather than investing on lab grown or chemically or synthesized materials. So that the two big purposes through recycling is happening, and at the same time you are propagating a marketing idea that we recycle, so we are more I would say more safer for the earth. At the same time you help to understand your customer better.
Correct.
Right. So I think recycling is just not giving back to the mother nature, but actually helping in the modern world to lower the churn
Yes.
which is I think every marketing professional wants to at the end of the day accomplish.
And this help you to build your brand image significantly
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
customers.
I agree.
That's true. That's true.
When
Now
you
I'm
cus-
seeing a full page advertisement only talking about sustainability,
Yeah.
by these brands. They don't advertise their product.
But I think I just want to add on awareness. So my 8-year-old kid, right? He told me one day, "Mom, you don't have 5 bins for waste classification." I said, "What do you mean by that? You have two. I've always seen two green and a
Blue
blue."
and green,
yeah.
So honestly, the Gen Alphas at
They
least
know it, eh?
are far beyond on
Yeah.
awareness. So and they are not really like waiting for brands or companies to educate them. The education system is already doing so.
Oh, that's
so
great.
he is have got a full quarter to actually talk about how he can reduce e-waste, how can he
Yeah.
segregate different type of waste, what are the sustainable measures. He actually
Exactly.
picked a water bottle and told me, you can't use it second time, right? So you see there's a triangle and there is a
Yeah.
one written, so you can't reuse it. It's a one use plastic.
Right.
Correct.
I said-
think in these schools,
I was blown, honestly, to
but,
hear
but in
him.
schools, these kind of curriculums are really taking up, a lot of the models which children are being, asked to create. They are mostly based on this sustainability, green earth,
So I'm very happy that we started a topic of ESG from individual and coming on and on the individual. So this is what the world is shaping, and this is what the culture is developing.
Absolutely.
So yes, ESG is the responsibility of everybody, not only the corporate or manufacturing
No,
facility.
of
Yeah.
course. And I think awareness is the key here, because we all do that. I mean, at one point of time when I was a kid, we used to have those cola bottles which were all glass bottles.
Yeah.
We used to have it and then give
Give
it
it
back
back.
to the retailers. And it was always done that way. There was nothing else. Then later everything came up with the PET bottles and all that. But I'm saying awareness, if it is there, we all are willing to do that. So that I was trying to touch on that if the consumers are made aware through the government or through the corporate, I think that is the best way to
In fact,
educate.
in logistics, in most of peers, even we, out of curiosity, ask with the shipping lines or truck operator, what is your vision, how you're going to reduce ESG? And I have a great discussion with one of the leading shipping line. They said, look, we have designed the design of the ship, which so I said, changing design how it help you to reduce the carbon footprint. So the idea was to changing design, the speed has become
Speed
more
is-
better.
Correct.
And they are also mapping their routing in alignment to the air or cyclone.
Yeah.
So this help to churn out lesser fuel.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So
correct.
this kind of extraordinary idea is coming, and again here AI plays a very important role. Climatic forecasting plays a very important
very
role.
critical.
So nowadays, shipping line also plan their route where winds are going in that route.
That's true. That's true.
Of course, in a calculated manner. So these things are happening, which was not happening earlier.
Which was not happening earlier. Even in my organization as a group level, we are very focused on ESG, how we can really not only do a lot of which is giving back to the society, but also we can make our customers also get aligned with us to do something which is sustainable in nature, which is more towards the goal of sustainability, as a group. So I think this is something very, very good which is happening today, and we all should carry it forward, to our children.
Yeah, so basically, see, what he just mentioned, for that earlier, what was missing was digitization and digitalization.
Right. That's right.
Now
That's right.
you have data as an asset.
Yes.
And you can extract whatever you want
Whatever,
as
I
per
mean,
your, and that
data-
really helps, which was missing earlier.
Yeah, and data is the oil.
Yeah.
That's the
And you
one
see the
machine
classic
that-
example of warehouse management system. Earlier, 5 years back, 10 years back, you used to struggle to search the inventory.
Yeah.
Now with the warehouse management system or control, it's take a minute to fill the
very,
truck.
very fast.
What does it mean? You are saving so much energy, you are saving so much electricity, you are saving so much turnaround of forklift,
Exactly.
wastage of truck. So this is also one of the examples.
And this all adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything adds
And
up.
significantly adds up.
And significantly adds up. You're right. So, Ashish, now coming back to you, I mean, we touched on the ESG part of it, and now let's come back and touch on something which is on top of all our mind. These geopolitical risks and those kind of capacity bottlenecks. This is reshaping the entire chip logistics today. So, how are you building those kind of resilient supply chains for the next tech boom?
So geopolitical means if you really see the last 6 years time means COVID came, then we seen the Russia-Ukraine war, then we seen the
The
Israel.
Middle East, yeah, Israel.
Now we are seeing small war is going everywhere.
Yeah.
So geopolitical issues are something that you are going to live it. Means population is growing. Uh, uh, different alignment of different countries are getting disturbed. We are seeing the situation with the Bangladesh, Pakistan. Even we have seen recently some small issues in Cambodia. So these things and many years at any given point of time, some airspace is closed.
Yeah,
so
that's
these
true.
things has become very common. So what does it comes to my mind always that disruption. When disruption come, one thing comes in my mind. In a war-like situation, somebody is reaching there, delivering the food, delivering the
Yes.
equipment.
Yes.
It means supply chain can operate in any
Any
given
situation.
situation.
Correct.
So now,
Absolutely.
what does it mean? What is your risk mitigation system? How you will mitigate the risk? If we are in a profession or delivering the medical equipment, and if some patient is serious in somewhere, there you cannot say that I have a supply chain issue or I don't have a logistic issue. So these are very common thing, and this supply chain issue is not has come up now 5 years, 10 years back. It is from the eras and
Ages.
decades.
Yeah.
So it's all about how we are becoming a resilient. So here, of course, what does it mean? How we can? I would not say that challenges can be eliminated. In fact, while I was coming to this podcast, I was discussing to one of my senior boss, and he said, "Ashish, you have given me 1,001 reasons of challenges what we have faced." Supply chain, and I'll give you a award. And I said him, yes, you should really give us the award. Means despite having 1,001 challenges, we have delivered it. Our fulfillment was almost 95% for the entire year.
Okay.
So if there was a challenge of 1,001 challenge, and if we can fulfill 95%, it means there is a mechanism of handling this kind of a risk.
Correct.
Now what are this mechanism? That of course we have to engage with the multiple logistics partner. We have to have our supply chain managed the way that you should have regional suppliers, you should have alternate supplying options. Look, if there is an issue with the Taiwan, you should be able to get it from the Thailand. If you have some issues with China, you should be able to get it from Europe or Australia. So years supply risk matrix with global supplier is very much important. Working with the OEM in India. Now, if you will really see, we have discussed on the e-waste management. So many OEMs in India has partnered with many of the waste management companies who have been recovering the copper, aluminum, steel, and they are building the product. So we should have that kind of a strategy aligned. So let's have a situation that everything is collapsed. Pakistan airspace is closed, China airspace is closed, Sri Lanka airspace is closed. What does it mean? That 150 crore population of India will sit quietly. So it's very much important to have an alternate. And how this alternate will come? We have to have a deployment of our companies the way that they should produce digital product for you, electronic product for you. They should be able to recover rare earth metal from the product what you already have in your country. In fact, government has come with many of the schemes now. So if we partner with them, these things are possible much. Of course, we can get into the, when it comes to semiconductor or chips, to my understanding, you should have a long-term contracts or strategic contract with the different suppliers, which will help to rescue in the time of emergency, stockout situation, because this kind of a demand is majorly impacted by the geopolitical scenario. If you will see when China want to build a pressure, they will hold, or US has to build a pressure, they will use some non-tariff barriers. So here, how resilient in the supply chain you are, that's the important role. Here AI and machine learning is important, but here your product management, consumption pattern, how you are conserving your metals, that plays a very important role.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think the disruptions in supply chain is nothing new. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not that the COVID has made us realize that disruptions are there. Disruptions were always been there, in supply chain, and that is the beauty of the supply chain. It's just that we have been hit hard by COVID, and then subsequently there have been so many things at once going on. So sometimes it happens that when too many things happens at the same time, it takes a very larger picture.
Sometimes I feel that COVID came to educate the
Educate
people.
us, and-
I never felt that that was a risk to the mankind. But after COVID, you see the transformation
Yeah,
what we are seeing.
exactly.
And after COVID, we have seen so many challenges. And the best part is that we are coming out of that, and we are
Exactly.
coming with a significant outcome, positive outcome.
It's a big bounce back, the way it is happening.
Which is
and-
sustainable.
Which is sustainable.
And secondly,
It's very,
what he said, just adding to that, uh, before Mr. Trump came in place, or Ukraine, Russia, or Israel, Hamas, or so-called Cambodia, Thailand recently, now people are no more thinking about offshoring. They are thinking about inshoring and nearshoring.
yes,
Right,
that's
and it has
true.
started,
That's
and
true.
that's where you need to have multiple thought process.
Correct.
कि ये हो गया तो कैसे करेंगे, वो हो गया तो कैसे करेंगे.
Exactly.
Our supply should not disrupt. Our product manufacturing should not disrupt. Our supplies to end customer should not disrupt. So you need to think thoroughly and way beyond your routine.
Yeah. And I think there the resilience come, which you
Yeah.
rightly said that.
And that is a great example. When the US have imposed tariff on India, it's hardly affected us.
Yes,
And
yes.
I see that we as Indians, it is not it's not impacting much on us. We are evaluating new market
Yeah.
has opened up.
Yeah.
So here are also government policies with our dear countries or neighboring country, how it is, that's also plays a very important role.
No, that's true. I mean, sometimes these kind of things are a blessing in disguise, when it
No, I
comes.
think disruptions is the glam part of supply chain.
Yeah.
Right? So it actually brings supply chain from behind the scenes to maybe
To the
boardroom
boardroom.
discussions.
Yeah.
Right? And I think there are two critical things which disruptions do for supply chain or like any of the verticals in an organization. It has actually made the to imbibe the cultural shift which all this generation is going through, right? So
Yeah.
I think we went to hybrid modes, right? Never in supply chain we have ever like thought about working anything from home, doing negotiations
Yeah,
online,
yeah.
right? Maybe managing the entire logistics from your
That's true.
home, right? So I think that the ease was brought into that disruptions.
Absolutely.
And the third thing is like you bring in technology,
Correct.
right? Otherwise, you have always seen supply chain as like a vertical which is ruled by people having experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? But now, today, you want to bring in the young kids
Yes.
who actually help you understand, decipher the problem so that it helps you make it more efficient. And so you started using AI
Yeah.
very, very often, right? You want to have the various, if you see as supply chain, we always have, you need to learn over a period of time. I'm 18 years of experience, so I have that kind of
Right.
knowledge base with me. But then now we want professionals who are T-shaped, right? So if you see people who have like spent years together in direct material, right, or maybe in exam or indirect, but now you want people to spend time over different verticals,
Yeah.
be going through those, so you help create a roadmap for them,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just not the experience which is playing, but the technology adoption. So
Exactly.
you need to learn, you need to unlearn and relearn.
Relearn. Yes.
Right. So these
absolutely.
three amalgamation
Correct.
has to work in supply chain all together beautifully in parallel, so that you are more, I would say, very beautifully coined by Ashish, is like resilient, right? So we are just not saying that there will be a disruption and then we will work upon it.
Yeah, no, but
It's about you need to be ready for
ready
it.
for that.
Right?
Exactly.
So that's a new normal.
So with this discussion, I cannot resist to go back to my thoughts. Sometimes, always one thing comes to my mind that China is 50 years ahead than India, and US is 200 ahead from us, and I always feel how we will compete and how we will bridge that gap. Somebody says 10 years, 20 years, but when I hear this kind of discussion, what comes to my mind that look, we have experience of 30 years. And now we have AI, ML, and this youngster. we have a young population 60 years. We have to just multiply. We will not 200, we will be 400 years much
Ahead of them.
ahead them. This might take a little time, but will be much,
Will be
much
there.
better workforce
Yeah,
in the coming years.
Yeah.
I think it all is about mindset and the awareness. And the way I look at the young generation which is coming up, I have full faith that we are moving in the right direction. It's just that it has to be steered
In the right direction.
way. That is probably our responsibility. But we are moving there.
They are opportunity, and we have to have our experience invested in them. You see the
Of course.
outcome. We will see
Exactly.
a marvelous outcome coming in
Exactly.
coming years.
And I think the gap doesn't matter. I mean, the US has the pagers, and after 10 years they got mobile. We got mobile and pager at the same time. And pager
So
never
today,
existed.
today most of the kid India have an Apple mobile phone.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we are moving there. So Karthik, I mean, coming back to you on this. So we have discussed a lot about the resilience and the technology coming into this. So now, if you look at it, the IoT, blockchain, and predictive analytics. Now, what these tech tools are actually transforming your logistics operations, or just adding complexity into this?
It is transforming. It's already on the way, not just in logistic, but I would say every vertical of the organization. Whether you talk about developing a product, so helping with the design, how it would be soothing when you use it, when it comes to manufacturing or procuring the raw material, or when you talk about supplying, so making the network design, that how it should be. So what we do is that every 3 years we have a relook. The infrastructure setup of the warehouses or the supply setup we have, is it right in the current circumstances, or are we supposed to change it? And in my tenure we already changed 2 times. So that's there, and obviously AI is helping us a lot. And when it comes to selling, then again it helps with the analytics, how and what products are going in the market, which brand is doing that, which mass of the population they are catering, at what price point. So I would say that this is when it comes to sales. After sales also we say that, okay, we are getting escalation for any particular product, which is way beyond than we ever imagined during the R&D time. So what are the reasons? Is it environment of that particular territory? Is it the usage? Like you go to any product usage of this kind of product in the eastern part or any coastal area,
Right.
you would find a lot of dust and your calcium particle or the salt particle. So that erodes the usage or the quality. So you need to do all this learning, and one cannot do alone. You need to have
Yes.
some data set, and this kind of data is now very much available. And last but not the least is also about user experience and customer experience. Internally for users who all are in different departments, how we are set with the data in hand or with the processes in hand. Is it right in the current circumstances or down the line a year? Plus for customers, like one of the product we recently launched. So when you do any big setup for big conferences in hotels or panel discussions, you might have observed that opposite the panel on the left or on the right hand side, there is a huge setup of devices, which is basically to take the signals from receiver and transmitter.
Okay.
Right? So for every equipment, you need to have that. So let's say you have 64 transmitter and receiver together. So you need to have that 64 setup. So recently our product has been launched called as Spectra. Therein you just need one device. That caters 32.
Amazing.
Right? And that comes with a software license enabled. So once life is over of the license, then we can think whether to customer wants to renew or want to return.
Okay.
So you need to think thoroughly how rather you use it as a blocking stone for your way of business, or you want to use it to transform. And it really helps to not only improve the efficiency or reduce the lead time, but also to bring in such innovative products.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is where the data analytics
Yeah.
will be working. Like, you understand what the consumer will
Correct.
be, wants
Yeah.
or desires.
Yeah.
So that's absolutely something. And I think the technology is really shaping up towards that. Its understanding is more how the behaviors are happening, and you can design the entire R&D towards that what kind of product is required in the market. So very well put, Karthik, there. So Somali, I mean, just leading it from there, when we talk about so much of technology, we talk about so many complex words, which is now kind of a buzzword now. To have that, you also need the right kind of talents.
course.
And so, what do you think that what kind of talent this tech logistics industry truly need now, and how do you think the students or professionals can really future-proof themselves, in this fast-moving sector?
I think thanks for this question, Jitendra. I would have really loved if this question was asked to me or maybe answered to me 20 years back, right? When I was graduating from an engineering college and would have known what exactly the talent required, right? I would have been better prepared. But then what I think is like the employability in supply chain has gone beyond your technical mastery, right? What right now is need people coming from data science background, data analytics, maybe also very well adapted to AI. And let me give you a quick example of my organization. So we have, I would say, woofingly high 400,000 part numbers. Okay. And every part number is a very intricate subassembly and at least having 1,000 attributes for anybody to capture, right? And in supply chain, you make yourself market check every other year, right? That's how you actually ground zero yourself and understand,
Correct.
are you buying competitive? Are you the best in the industry? So what historically it would have been done is like an engineer, of course, opening the drawing and then trying to understand what are those critical to manufacture, critical to design parameters, jotting them down in an Excel, right? I'm not talking about say 30 years back, right? Jotting them down on a paper, but maybe capturing them in an Excel, right? What AI has done for us is that we are able to create an algorithm through our in-house digital team, which scans the entire drawing. And I would say we did an RFQ almost 5,000 drawings very recently. In an hour, we were able to get all the attributes. Okay.
Oh.
And so because then it's not human dependent, and the algorithm teaches himself.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
So the next time he sees a similar drawing, he just not takes just the nominal values, but also takes care of the tolerances, right? And it also tells you, couple of your drawings are so redundant and so old that you need to right now time to scale them up with respect to the new manufacturing trends.
Very right.
So, and I think this is one use case which I feel is doing such great for any other organization who wants to market check themselves. So that is one. Of course, you need people like this. At the same time, from an analytics background, while all the experienced guys will tell you the application part of it. For example, maybe I would say about a lot of chatbots, right? Or maybe so any point of time you open a website, you have a chatbot right sitting next, which prompts you for the right questions to ask, right? For Carrier, we are built up of companies manufacturing out of 65 different countries.
Okay.
Out of 5 regions, right? Say Asia, North America, Europe, and even China. And then for them to bring them together and to eventually benchmark the best practices, right? And this company has been grown organically and inorganically both. So it's important that you have common horizontal best practices and you learn from each other.
Correct.
Right? So it's
Absolutely.
important that you bring all the data of the supply chain on one platform, and that's available to every individual which is connected to supply chain to understand what's going in which part of the world. So, and that can only be done through having, like I would say, spend management tools and talking about, say, having such kind of AI models, which helps you understand what are the inefficiencies which are there.
Yeah.
For us to understand and even help real-time negotiations.
Correct.
Right? So surprisingly, over last 3 years, technology has made Carrier bring out 4% cost reduction every
Fantastic.
year. Right?
Fantastic.
Because historically it used to be handshake meetings. Okay, that you typically do in supply chain, long-term contracts or maybe.
Yeah,
Right now, we know that we have data with us to tell us, give linear price predictions. Right? If I'm bringing in this particular part at this price of this particular weight, this particular tolerances, what should be my shoot cost for the next part, right?
Okay.
Otherwise, you're dependent on really cost modeling it, physically
Yeah, correct.
tear downing it, and then so the technology, and that's why we need industry ready professionals, just not from the technological point of view, but also they are understand the passion of supply chain.
Absolutely.
So it's that's like two good things which has to come together in terms of talent for them to be industry ready.
Correct. I mean, I think that is something which is very, very important from the future proofing part of it. Also, when we speak about disruptions or the new things or something which we don't know which is coming up, how do we prepare our talents or our people to be ready for something which they don't know? So it's not about having a disruption and then working on it. It's about being ready to face any kind of disruption which comes in.
So
Ashish, you want to?
here I one things come in my mind. Hearing my co-panelist. So now supply chain is not about cost modeling. It is all about cost optimization. So the days has gone where you have to have n number of codes. We used to take 4-5 code and we feel that we have taken the best code. Now with the AI, with the machine learning and the kind of data what we have, you have something in your mind with the strong data that what kind of rates or freights are available. Now you have a situation and you have a benchmark here, and now your decision has to be in alignment to that outcome, not with the comparison.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So these things, means this transformation has came in the supply chain from last 5-6 years, and this is evolving. Many companies like Exenta provide you a
Correct. Benchmarking.
benchmarking, and
Yes.
you have to be now with that benchmarking you align your profits or
Yeah,
your
yeah,
regular
yeah.
budget,
Yeah.
and your thought has to be, I have to achieve this benchmark rather than having L1.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Because it's a very holistic view now, which are being taken. So, well said. I mean, this is the disruption, or this is the new world, or the new thing which is coming up, for which we need talent. We as a group also have got Tri Academy, where we are trying to put these kind of training or these kind of situations to the young generation, so that uh, we don't want to make it like a classroom study which is quite outdated. We don't want to teach them what used to happen 5 years back. Rather, we want to train them to be trained to react to anything which comes, in the next 5 years. And that is something which nobody knows. So are you or your brain or your skills are prepared to handle something which you don't know? And that is the whole idea behind the Tri Academy. So under the same, we have asked some of the colleges, the premier institutes, to have some questions around it. We always invite them. So I've got a couple of questions which has come up from them. So I'll open it up for you. So there is Hitakshi Gupta from IIM Bangalore. And the question is that today everyone is talking about China plus one strategy. But in reality, how long would it actually take for a major smartphone or a laptop or any electronic consumers, to shift 30% of its production out of China if tension suddenly increases tomorrow?
So I think it's not a quick shift. A lot has to be changed, not just from the organization perspective, but from the whole policy perspective of the country. Because if you look at the rare earths or any raw material you talk about, you will see the pie chart that 70 to 95% of them is with China.
Exactly.
Which truly tells that you have very rare opportunity. So first you need to make that opportunity, and to make that opportunity you need to have that resources in place, you need to have that talent in place, you need to have that capabilities, infrastructure in place. And I think if you look from India perspective, we are well on it. We are far ahead the way government is supporting with various schemes to the manufacturer, let's say semiconductor or chip, the kind of schemes they are bringing in. Or if you talk about batteries for that sake, because future is EV for the automobile industry. So their battery is something which play the key role or the pivotal role. So a lot of manufacturers are establishing their base. Or you look at Vietnam for that perspective, you look at Indonesia for automobile, you look at Thailand again for automobile. So things are slowly, gradually shifting, and it's no more think of that how cost effective the person is. It is more to do with how efficient you are
Yeah.
end to end.
Exactly.
So it would take long time, but it's ongoing.
Yeah. So it will happen. It is there,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it will take some time.
To my understanding, means we should partner with the Indian electronic manufacturers. We should have a strategy plan with them, which have a long-term vision, and that what kind of commitment of purchase what we can make to them. So this will definitely help them to innovate their production capability, and these things will definitely help in long term to achieve our goal. There are a number of ideas which I am seeing that our government is implementing, encouraging, and to my understanding, I don't see India as China plus one. I see India is India.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see it's plus to the China.
Well said. Well said.
I see as an individual that India has to become one of the capable and more independent rather than becoming China option to any other country. And we have a right population, right innovation, right technology. Of course, we have to think slightly on management of resource, and I'm sure it will not be a far that we will achieve this.
Well said. Huh?
So I think for me, China plus one is not like say China, but rather any country's dependency on of
Yeah.
manufacturing,
Correct,
right?
correct.
And I think if we say in terms of electronics, of course, we have like globally, just not India, but rather US or maybe any other given developed country has very high dependency on China,
Yes.
right? So I think this has been bothering just not the developed, but rather China as well. So that's why they have come up with a global footprint movement from China alone to say Taiwan, to Vietnam, to Thailand as well. And this has been going on. So this initiative is just not new right now. It's been going off at least from 7 years now in the lane, and it is so the path is not so straight, right? What exactly has to happen is for me is globalization, okay? And how do I see that is that you need to have global partners, right, who are ready to get invested locally.
Correct.
So that you are
Right.
having offshoring but at the same time nearshoring, and you have those global partners regionally located so that they work in those geographies. They are, I would say, tariff foolproofed, have those technology backgrounds which you are really looking forward to, but then at the same time you have all those advancements which you have upgraded your industry already. So it's one region dependent to other region and going beyond that region. So I think China plus one strategy is just one of the terms which I've coined across that. But I think supply chain has been always working on that de-risking one region for the manufacturing so that you again have more resilient supply chain.
Yeah, in many cases we have seen India is exclusive OEM for H&M, Nike,
Pharma.
Adidas, Foxconn, Apple. So here not China plus one, but of course India as a one.
Yeah, of course.
And another initiative which from the government standpoint, if you look in last 10, 15 years, I would say, now there is a competition between the state, right? To have this industry
Yes,
event,
yes.
right? To bring in the foreign investment.
Correct.
And I never saw any delegation from the state along with the chief minister going into foreign
Yes,
territories
yes, it's
to
happening.
look at what they are doing for, I would say, housekeeping, for manufacturing. And that's something which is unique. And that is what China did 60 years ago.
Correct.
Right? Putting your talent into some place and then bringing them back and offer them to manufacture.
Exactly.
And that's what we are on the right path. And every state is trying to grab as much they can to bring in more and more production in India. That will definitely help.
Yeah, it's a very balanced
Yeah.
approach and much needed at the
Yeah.
point, So I'll quickly move to the next question. This has come from Priyam Bhardwaj and I am Udaipur. How could advancements in synthetic alternatives to rare earth elements impact the long-term sustainability of the electronic supply chain?
Okay, so I think electronics have very high dependency on rare earth metals, right? And as an electronics as an industry, we keep finding those rocks to find those rare earth metals. But then at this point of time, and I think this discussion moving to alternate materials, primarily synthetic, is still at a very nascent stage. right? And we are trying to address this in two forms, right? Of course, invest in the research and development where you try to move and manufacture them like the synthetic versions of rare earth metals, lab grown, right? Or maybe chemically synthesized. The other one is the recycling part of it. So, and I think parallelly the initiative has been going on both direction at an equal speed. How adaptable it will be to the complete, I would say, replacement, would the time will tell. But that's very, very highly cost intensive. Capital locking is involved. And at this point of time, we do not have a clear solution available. So electronics would, to a larger years coming, I would see that still we will be dependent on rare earth metals. But the discussion has already started.
Okay.
The at least the investments are happening over there, because if from a sustainability point of view, that would be there, right? How we
Correct,
10 years
correct.
back used to see, oh, EV is going to replace petrol and diesel vehicles. Yes, it is, right?
Yeah,
right
of
now.
course,
So what I feel is like something which is latest today is obsolete tomorrow.
Yep.
Okay, so that's why that is going to be no other. So that's non-negotiable. We definitely have to go there, but how long, how fast, and how effective, I think time will tell.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So just adding and a bit different to the topic is, I was talking to one of my procurement guy, and I was understanding that how industry is doing, how competition is doing, and why they are so fast in getting the new product versus us, where we take longer time of 2 years to 3 years. So what I understood that the one of the competition he named was that what they do, any new product would have only 30% new parts.
The reusability.
Okay.
Yeah, so 70% would remain same. So that would help you to avoid the scrapping of old scrap.
That's right. That's right.
So that raw material is used, and this cycle would continue on and on and on.
Correct,
So
correct.
whether it is a first generation product or a fifth generation product, there would still be 30% product which are similar.
Okay,
So that help in sustainability.
Yes,
And that help you to be more competitive in terms of pricing.
Correct.
And the pace of availability of new
The
product in the
products is,
market.
the turnaround
Right?
is pretty
Yeah.
fast.
So what happens that our product is, let's say, at 100 and output is also 100. So the competition will bring in the product at 50 with 90% efficiency matching us. So customer would be more than happy to get that.
Correct.
So that's what which will definitely help in sustainability also.
Great. Trade-offs.
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day you need to bargain.
Correct.
Yeah, of course.
Very nice perspective, very fresh.
So here I would add, when it comes to synthetic alternates, so we are seeing some small development. So means you would have seen that beams, iron beams, which used to be used in the installation, means, making of manufacture warehousing facility. So earlier it used to be steel, and now you will see entire thing is of glass fiber.
Glass fiber.
So these things are happening slowly, and but it's again a mindset that you want to stay in the house of made of cement or steel, or you want to stay in the house of composite.
Correct.
So gradually things are improving, and once you will start these alternate synthetic options, you might save more on the rare metal or semiconductors.
Correct.
So it's more and more use of this kind of alternates, which is easily available.
Perfect.
And again impacted by our mindset. I mean, say, I'll give a class example of Japan. Entire house is made of a glass fiber. Your house is zero impact from earthquake, tsunami, anything. But here somebody will ask you to stay in a house made of composite. Probably we might not be so comfortable.
Correct.
It's about adaptability.
It's all
It will come.
It will come. I mean, even you go 30 years, 20 years back, the kind of houses we have.
Yeah.
And now what we have is a big difference.
Yeah.
And I think it also comes from when you start the user experience which you talked about. When you start experiencing it, you will start liking it. I mean, in the US, most of the houses are wooden houses, You walk up the stairs, the whole house shakes. So what do you want to have the same house in it? So it's all about just how do you want it. And once you start using it, you may well start liking it also, Everything comes with its own, pros and cons. So, but it's more about your preferences at times. And how do we build up those preferences is important, So yeah, so just one more question, and this has come from Rachayata Siddharth from Monash University. So with the huge spike in AI server demand, data center customers are now buying 2 to 3 years of chips in advance. So how is that distorting the entire supply chain for everyone?
So this create actually artificial shortage of demand in the market. So here I strongly believe that demand forecastings will play a very important
Absolutely.
and you should keep a sufficient inventory which will rescue in kind of a situation where sudden spike in demand or shortage of material. Again, here the important is that you should have multiple alternate resource, not alternate. You should have multiple alternate resource. So this will not help us or somebody to risk. Means you have a risk mitigation plan, but also to unlock your cost in putting in the inventory, and you can use the cash flow. So simply having a fear that because of artificial shortage I will buy, that should not be a right business call.
Correct, correct.
Maybe I beg to disagree with Ashish here. Okay, because so I don't think data center requirement is going to be it's an artificial demand at all, right? That's a industry which is actually multiplying itself 100 times, right, every other year, right? So just give a quick reference. So in Carrier we used to manufacture close to 500 chillers, right, every year. Okay, and these are like very big air cooled. If you happen to go in any of the rooftops of a mall, you happen to see a very big air cooled or water cooled chillers. They're like a very big infrastructure which anybody puts in place. Right now we are trying to make it to, and this was 2 years back, now we are trying to gear up our capacity to manufacture 3,000 chillers a year, right? So this is definitely not artificial at all, right? And these are all logged by companies like say Meta, Google, or Microsoft, who are actually locking these chillers for their data center growth, and majorly around countries like Asia, South Asia, North Asia. And but then I would say what is the lesson learned out of this is like you need to have very robust product planning process in the organization, and again the resilient supply chain. Do you have a visibility of your tier 2 and tier 3, right? Do you have the visibility of your country of origin manufacturing, right? Do you know the entire value chain which goes? So entire backward integration knowledge is very, very important in this particular case, so that you can plan better.
Correct.
Then at the same time, coming in from the analytics, you understand, oh, your demand is going to spike in next 3 years, seeing the current industry trend. So then you understand, oh, your product manufacturing cycle is 18 months. So you plan right now. You end up having early vendor integrations. Then you actually work with those manufacturers or suppliers or those tier 2 to plan ahead in time, right? You also talk through your consumers to understand how their projections looks like from industry growth. So I would say it's an end-to-end connection which helps you in these kind of like any of the booming sectors which comes in. You need to be thoroughly informed. I would say, and those risk mitigation already in place. You can't really wait for these kind of disruptions to come in and then you react, but rather in the response mode, more proactive, more predictive, more prescriptive, so that you are ready with respect to facing these disruptions. Okay. So I think one of the examples which Karthik gave is product simplification, right? The reuse of in the product is also very important. So the organization is really seeing to see if they can reduce their complexities, reduce the count of parts, make them more modular designs, right? And also, in fact, I have been talking and like was reading an article that even there are companies which are coming up where they assemble during the ship. Okay. So that you actually crunch the whole cycle time of manufacturing, right? Typically, we have always heard when the product is ready, then you ship, right? But then here in this case, you disassemble, or the CKD, complete knockdown, is available to a logistics partner. who
Okay,
can
okay.
actually during the fly or during the
Assemble it,
shipment can assemble them all
Okay,
together.
okay.
So,
Fantastic.
so this is one way of disrupting the entire time which is involved from conception to delivery.
Of course,
So
of
I think
course.
all these new booming sectors will help us see the supply chain side of the industry in a very different
Yeah,
way.
yeah, correct. Absolutely.
Yeah, and adding to what both of them said, quite valid point is what we learned the lesson during COVID is about chip and semiconductor. So during that time, majority of them was coming from Taiwan, and there was completely stop, and then our production and everything was stopped. So lesson learned during that time that critical component should be in house,
Yes, yes,
right?
yes.
And we developed that capability. Second, which is a bridge between both differences, is having a strong business partnership presence.
Yes.
So that what she said, you should have tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 visibility. That will only come when you have that strong contract with your partner,
That's
when
true.
you don't treat them just as a supplier but as a business
As a
partner.
business partner. Yeah,
They
yeah,
know
that's true.
what you have, and you know what they have, and that can give confidence that how your business looks like in future.
That's
So
true.
that is something which would help overall to synchronize.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in today's parlance, we are talking about this, but I just recall early 2000s when there was a BPO boom which has come in. So a lot of call centers used to come, and suddenly they needed a 150 seater or up to even extent of 500 seaters used to come in. So there was a very generalized kit which used to be at every desk. Like you've got a monitor, you've got a keyboard, you've got a mouse, and everything. So during that time, I remember we had a partnership with one of the company here, which came in Gurgaon. We used to and we were their partners the similar way which you're talking about. So I was in that company. So we used to get all those mouses from one place and keyboard from the other place, and on the go we had created a transit warehouse in Malaysia. So everything used to come. We used to create one kit and move directly into India, and then we moved it to the call center. So it was so quick. But I'm talking about like 23 years back. You know.
So Jitendra, I think this is going to be a perma effect, right? The
Yeah.
permanent effect, right? This is not going to change at all. The names are going to change over a period of
Exactly.
Yes,
time,
yes, yes.
but then this is going to be for long.
I know. It's just that the pace of disruption has increased and the pace of solutions have increased with
Yeah,
the
agreed.
technology coming in, with the talents coming in.
So yes, supplier matrix will play a very very important role, and how you are negotiating your contract, long-term contract with your regional partner, will definitely going to help,
Yeah, 100%.
because your regional partners will play very important,
Correct.
and you should have the risk mitigation plan for
Exactly,
your global
exactly.
sourcing pattern.
Yeah,
In
because
fact, on disruption, what you just said, it was there.
it was always there.
It
eh?
was too much there because at that point of time you don't know what to do.
Exactly.
I know one of my senior who was working with one of the multinational FMCG. He said that Karthik, during 90s, when truck was not around the factory and production is disrupted, हमको एक लोडिंग रिक्शा दिया हुआ था. You just go with that person, find the truck and bring it back, because there was no technology that time.
Yes.
So that time disruption was much bigger than what we have. The
Yeah,
complexity
exactly.
was much higher.
Much higher.
Yeah.
And now, I think now we have one, I think, I would not say God-made tool, but
Yeah.
a man-made tool called ChatGPT.
Exactly.
Right? If you can't find any answer anywhere,
Just
right?
ask.
You get it
Ask
there.
ChatGPT.
Yeah.
Hey ChatGPT,
Yeah, and-
let
and
me
I-
know the
Yeah.
answer.
And I encourage
Correct.
my team to use it because
Yeah.
it's a tool which is very handy and
Yes,
it gives
yeah,
you
it is.
fantastic results.
Yeah.
It all depends. What I learned from my IT is that how your prompt is. You need to be
yeah,
very
yeah.
precise. He gave
Yeah,
me
yeah,
one
correct.
very simple example during a training. He's no more with Sun either, but he gave an example that let's say you want to make an image of a girl aging between 20 to 25. The face should look like X, the background should look like Y, the Sony lens of this this much should be the depth, and I should show the tears coming out, and the kind of prompt he showed us, exact output was coming.
Yeah.
So it all depends how you
Yeah,
give the input.
exactly. So, I mean, that's very, very great perspective. So, thank you for being part of this conversation today,
Thank you.
Somali, Ashish, Karthik. It was really a pleasure to have you on board.
Pleasure is mine.
And
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
bringing in so much of clarity and the honesty towards this conversation. So to all our viewers, I hope this you also liked this conversation, and I also hope that it has given you a real perspective rather than just the information. So until the next time, this is Jitendra Srivastava signing off from the TriNext podcast. Thank you.